I have some very big news to share, and I don't know how people are gonna react.
Okay, that was chilly.
I have a goosebumps.
Clearly, we have got a lot to discuss, so let's not waste any time.
2 seconds later.
You are a cheating wife.
You are a clown. Okay? You are a freaking clown.
Yeah, and you're a pregnant
That's what
whore.
you are. An idiot that sell your pictures online, stabbing your ass with butt plugs.
What did he say?
Hey, you farty McFartface, and welcome back to another episode of 90 Day Fiancé The Last Resort. This week is part 1 to the tell-all. Now again, I know this wasn't from this week. This was from a couple of weeks ago. I am still behind, but I'm picking up, and I'm sure you guys can hear it. Once again, I'm somehow sick. I don't know how it keeps happening. I was fine for like 4 days, and then it just hit me like a ton of bricks again. I don't even know anymore. But thankfully, the tell-all has been so good. It made me tell my snotty ass to get up and record these videos. So I apologize for the next few videos. I'm gonna be sounding very runny once again, but never mind that. Let's get right into this tell-all. They start out with everybody arriving, and of course some couples are coming separately. Of course, one of the couples that aren't coming together is Rob and Sophie. They decided not to commit at the ceremony, so they're separated. But Rob did bring his new BFF Josh, and it's so funny how they didn't really have any beef, but in the beginning Josh was like texting Sophie, so it was like awkward, but now they're like homies. Literally are in a throuple with Jamal. And this is where Rob tells us that things have still been difficult with Sophie, which later on we find out they weren't that difficult. Now we get Stacy and Florian arriving, and Stacy, I swear every time she hops out, she is on bad bitch time. But Stacy goes on to explain that her and Florian have not been having a good couple of months, and probably if this tell-all was any later, they probably would have been arriving separately too. Now we get Natalie arriving, of course alone, because Josh and Rob came together, and the only reason I'm bringing her up is because she said she has some really great news. And I swear if she pops out saying she's in some type of relationship or she's pregnant, I don't know. I don't even know. Now that everybody's arrived, they're showing the behind the scenes where everybody's just mingling together. And Rob, Natalie, and Brandon are all standing at a table. And Rob is just saying that he's nervous for this because he knows Sophie knows exactly what to say to push his buttons. And then Natalie goes on to continue just to be, she gives like such pick me.
You probably don't have people gunning for you though.
You think so?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna support him.
I'm gonna try not to let things get to me.
No, those people who have a doll going after the hand.
Puppet.
Oh, what I want to do, I want to come with scissors and do like this. Yeah. And like, he's a free man, he's a free man. Just go. And with your looks, you could date any girl, like, get her on your side.
Dick Rider! Dick Rider, Dick Rider, Dick Rider!
And as Rob and Natalie are going back and forth on this, Josh is actually hiding behind the curtain listening to everything. And Josh is hella salty. He's like, I'm not going to defend Natalie at all, even if she's right. And in fact, if Natalie and Sophie start fighting, he's just going to stick up for Sophie because they're friends now. How close of friends, Now Gino arrives, and of course he goes straight to his brother Florian, and Jasmine's not around. And you know what? I'm not even going to hype this all up because I'm sure you guys all know she is pregnant as hell, and we know it's not Gino's baby. So Gino arrives alone and goes straight to Florian and lets him know that he has some dirt. And at the end of this, Matt is going to be crying.
I doubt it.
Now Julia and Sophie come out of the curtains, and they're all dressed, and Sophie walks over to Rob, and she is being very touchy and very flirting. So she's definitely giving some mixed signals. Now everybody gets on set, and for some reason, this has never really happened before, Jasmine arrives late as hell. And of course they did that on purpose, so there was like some grand entrance and everything. Everybody could see her pregnant. But while they're all getting on set, she's still in the car trying to get there. Sean splits up the girls and the guys because they felt like they would be more comfortable that way, since that's how they gravitated during the season. All the girls were together and all the guys were together, so they split them up. Now they just go down the line to see how people's relationships are going. They start off with Josh and Natalie, and they said they're not friends whatsoever. They're not cordial or anything because they parted ugly. And now they do say they haven't seen each other since the resort, but then later on they talk about how they have seen each other a couple of times since then, but we'll get to that later. Now Sean asks how Gino and Jasmine are doing, doing.
Really, nigga?
And of course, Gino's like, yeah, we're separated, obviously. And now they get to Brandon and Julia, and I figured this was exactly what was going to happen. Brandon said when they got home, the therapy was great, everything worked out. But then once they started getting into the whole parents thing, the whole baby thing, they just focused on her parents' visa, and they never talked about the baby thing ever again. So she was just prioritizing what she wanted instead of what he wanted. While he's saying that, she's straight up just like, yep, I did that. Didn't regret it at all. Like, I knew she was gonna do that shit. She just don't give a fuck at all. She's straight up like, yep, I did that. Now we go to Benny and Ari, and just to wrap it all up, they haven't even filed for divorce. And Benny's straight up like, the paperwork doesn't matter. We're done. I don't need a divorce. Now they move on to Sophie and Rob, and apparently a few months after the retreat, they started doing it. And for some reason, Josh decided to put in his 2-piece and was like, yeah, I knew they were doing it this whole time. Me and Natalie were too. We've been doing it numerous times.
Bruh.
You know, Rob and Sophie were, you know, together intimately, as well as Natalie and I have been numerous times.
Oh, hell no!
We're just
It's why.
cordial. We're just cordial.
Since the resort, you and Natalie have had.
Yeah, numerous times.
It was pity.
Are you sure about that?
But while everybody is going at it, Jasmine just walks in, pregnant as hell. Dude, the way Gino looked when she walked out, I felt that in my gut. Now Jasmine sits down and Sean does what she does best and makes things uncomfortable.
You are pregnant.
Yes, I am. Very pregnant.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you seem very happy.
Wow.
I am.
So I have to ask, are you the father of Jasmine's baby?
I am not.
So then it has to be Matt. Is that right, Jasmine?
Yes.
Matt is the father of your baby.
Yeah.
Whoa. Do you want to say hi to Gino?
Hi.
Hi.
Now after Sean is done running Gino over with the truck, she tells Rob and Florian to grab that alcohol and pour it all over his wounds. She's like, didn't you tell Gino that he would regret this? That this was a bad decision? And just like Rob was the most vocal during the season, he is the most vocal now. And he's like, yep, I sure did tell him. Jasmine never wanted an open marriage. She never wanted to fix the relationship. She just wanted an easy way out to be with Matt. That's all that it was. And you can tell right off the bat, Jasmine and Rob don't like each other, because Jasmine immediately gets upset. Jasmine's like, I don't care about his opinion. His marriage didn't work. And Rob turns around and is like, yours didn't either. And this is where things start to rumble, tumble downhill. And I know I say this a lot, that things start getting out of control. This is probably the worst it has ever gotten. Rob is going in saying she needed to take accountability. Jasmine's like, oh, I did everything I could. I took accountability. And he's like, oh, you took accountability for being a cheater, huh? And they're just going back and forth, eventually till Rob just starts mocking her.
Do I have to explain myself to you?
No, you don't have to explain yourself to
My
me.
sex outfit, by the
You are
way.
a cheating
you
wife.
look exactly
You are a cheating
as
wife.
You are a clown. Okay?
Okay.
You are a freaking clown.
Yeah, and you're a pregnant
That's what
whore.
you are. Okay?
Okay.
You are a freaking clown.
Yeah, and you're a pregnant
That's
whore.
what you are.
And you're a pregnant whore.
Let's get ready to rumble!
No!
What?
Please, Jasmine.
What, Jasmine?
Okay, guys.
It's okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. I got it. No.
Get in my face.
I just did.
For there are no crumbs.
You're a whore.
Take loose.
Whore is what you are.
And now things keep going back and forth. I felt like there was no end. She's over here calling him a pathetic loser, saying he's in gay corn, shoving booty plugs up his booty. And I would just like to say right here, right now, for you to come out here and try to shame somebody for liking something on their own personal in the bedroom time, as long as they're not hurting anybody, how are you gonna come out here and try to shame somebody, even if he turns out he is gay, okay? Even if that was the case. Why are you gonna try to come and shame this guy for that? That was your point, your talking head, to come out here and belittle somebody. Oh, he likes it up the booty. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's a plethora of straight men out there that like it up there too. So I mean, for her to come out here and do that, absolutely disgusting of her. I did not like that. But then I am gonna also say, I do agree with Rob, most of what he was saying, her just trying to open the marriage just so she could be with Matt. But then he turned around and started calling the baby a bastard and was cussing out the baby, the unborn child, the child that had nothing to do with any of this, the child that didn't even ask to have anything to do with this. Like, don't talk about the damn baby. That baby was just bright. Damn. But Jasmine is going to ham right now. She's pregnant. She's pregnant as hell. What are you doing? And I don't even think I have to tell you guys to remember this moment because this is one of the biggest moments. But I'm gonna bring this up a little later in the tell-all. I feel like she just kept talking out of her ass the rest of the tell-all. But as the producers and the guys are taking Rob away, she's screaming at him, go sell your gay corn, go sell your booty plug corn, yada yada, just going off. And Sean settles her down, gets her to sit down, and she's like, girl, what are you doing? You're pregnant. Why are you trying to get into a fight? You're pregnant. And Jasmine is still just going off, basically going off at everyone around her. And she's like, yeah, so what? So what? I got pregnant. This isn't my fault. I was in an open marriage. This is a-okay. Yeah, you were in an open marriage, but the rule stated that you were supposed to have safe schmecks. I don't think there was anything in the guidelines saying you could get pregnant. So don't try to cover this up being like you didn't do anything wrong just because Gino agreed to the open marriage. But now the guys are in the back talking mad dookie.
Jasmine is a user. She's a manipulator.
A hoe.
And she,
Jasmine is a hoe.
She finessed you. Honestly, I think she got pregnant on purpose so that she could show up at this tell-all pregnant so that everybody would have her back and everybody be supportive. Jasmine, Matt, that baby.
Hey, what do you mean by that?
But they have to continue with the show, so they escort all the dudes back on stage, and then another fight breaks out.
Round 2, fight.
What the are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
Go and
There's your
sell
hooker.
your butt picture.
That's your hooker.
Go and
Your hooker is right here. So conniving.
Your
She
ass.
knew what that one thing she could do would be. I'm gonna get pregnant so that all the girls support me. You walked in and was like, I'm pregnant, and all the girls was like,
And it's so funny because Rob gets a hold of her shoe and goes and tries to break it, and he's using all his strength, and that shoe was sturdy as hell. Where the hell did she get that Nokia heel at? Cause god dang, it wasn't moving an inch. So we took that thing outside and chucked it across the street. But Rob goes on to explain himself about the gay corn, and again, I felt like this shouldn't have been like a point to bring up to like make him seem like a crappy person or something like that. Like he was just doing what he likes doing, you know? It wasn't hurting anybody. But he goes on to explain that, yeah, he was doing some stuff like that because most of his following was from gay men, but he's not into men like that. He was just doing stuff on his own. And again, straight men can like those things too. So for Jasmine to bring this, I don't know, again, just felt really disgusting to me. But again, the show has to go on. So they escort Rob back to his seat and a little fight begins to happen. But Sean is like, I'm done with you children. If anybody throws anything in this room again, you're going to leave. But they start off with Brandon and Julia, and to be honest, I'm gonna speed by this because it was literally all the stuff that we already heard and we already figured was going to happen. She asked them how the relationship is doing, and Julia's like, oh, it's great, we're doing fantastic. And you can tell Brandon wanted to interrupt and say something. So Sean moves on to the parent talk, and again, Julia speaks up. She's like, yeah, we're going through the process, everything is great. And this time Brandon interrupts and he's like, I've had no say on what is happening anymore. So Sean brings up, okay, but what about the baby thing? And Brandon's like, yeah, she did agree to do that, but she keeps putting it off. And that conversation really doesn't go anywhere. So Sean is like, all right, well, let's bring your parents in. So Sean and Betty get on a call and they are liquored up. They're on a cruise right now. And honestly, that's probably why this conversation goes so well for them. So they go on to show his parents the clip of Julia all on the bar dancing around, and they ask how they feel about that. But Julia's like, I expected an apology. And they turn around and they're like, maybe you should have thought about how you acted. Maybe you should be the one apologizing. And again, Rob putting in his two-piece. I don't know why he has an opinion on everybody's relationship. But then again, some of the things he does say, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now, does he follow those things himself? Probably not. But he goes on to tell Julia, when you're married, you can't be going around doing all that. Like, you have to think about the other person's feelings, and there's limitations. And Julia turns around and she's like, what are limits? Huh? That's your problem right there. What do you mean, what are limits? Like, when you're married, unless unless you guys are just open, free, la-di-doo-dah, la-di whatever, I think maybe you should be thinking about the other person. And that's where it's like, that's probably why she didn't think kissing was cheating. Because I mean, what do you mean, what are the limits? But Julie keeps trying to defend herself about this, being like, I was just having a fun in the bar and dancing. And Brandon was like, your whole coochie was out. And Sophie interjects herself now, and she's like, her coochie was not out. She had underwear on. And Rob interjects once again and is like, bruh, I've seen your coochie hanging out. What do you mean? And now Sophie is just feeling attacked. She's like, oh, Rob, why would you say that to me? But Sophie's just trying to defend her like she used to be a go-go dancer. That's just what she does. And Brandon's like, what? Am I supposed to be cool with her? She just whips her boobies out too? And at this point, Sean and Betty are just cracking the hell up. Like I said, I think that little scissor got them going. Something very surprising to me happened. I did not expect this, but Betty actually sticks up for Julia. And I was like, damn, okay. But she was like, you know what? Her outfit wasn't the worst. I couldn't see it from that angle, so I can't say much. But maybe Sophie was right. Maybe she did have underwear on. You didn't see it. And then Julia's disrespectful ass gets up and she's like, here, let me show you the angle. Gets up on the table, pushes her dress over, and they blur it, so you know we done saw her kookananny and everything. Like, girl. And Brandon is quite over it. He's like, bro, I literally just said you were doing this and I didn't like it, and you're just gonna do it again to my parents? But at the end of the day, Julia is still expecting an apology from Brandon when he called her a whore. And everybody, even his parents, are like, you know what? You should just apologize because you should not be saying that to your wife. And at first he does try to apologize and he adds a but in there. And we all know when you add a but into an apology, it's not a real apology. So he has to revert back and he actually does apologize to her and they hug it out. But as they mend their relationship just a little bit better, the show is here to break them down once again. So they show them a clip of when Julia and Sophie were behind the scenes of Between the Sheets. And they show a clip of the therapy where Julia says that not only did she kiss that one guy, but there was another guy that she worked with and that she was talking to this guy and that Brandon does not want to know what happened between them. Whore. And she just disrespectfully starts laughing about the situation. Whore. And Sophie asks Julia, what did happen? What happened? And Julia straight up like, I'll tell you off camera. So she's being real sneaky deaky once again. Didn't she say there weren't gonna be any more secrets or anything coming out while they were on the retreat? But now this is coming out during the tell-all. I would never trust this bitch again. So Sean is like, so what happened? What did you tell Sophie? And Sophie's like, she didn't even tell me. And Julia starts freaking crying. At this point, Brandon is like, where the fuck do I get the divorce papers at? Because I'm tired. And that was the end of this week's tell-all. This week popped the hell off. And next week looks pretty good as well.
You didn't feel the same connection that I felt when I met you?
I have a question. Did you gonna let this go, or are you gonna be hold this for the rest of our life?
She was over in Russia kissing everyone.
Everyone.
You've never cheated since we've been married, correct?
We have Darcy and her husband, Georgie.
The diva arrived!
What's up?
I didn't see you.
Open the boobs. Okay. Do you think that Stacy should trust Florian?
Maybe not.
Oh, wow.
Again, I appreciate all of you guys being patient with me, and I apologize that I'm sick again. I don't know what's going on. I literally go to work and come back home. I do work around a lot of people, so that could be it. Yeah, that's most likely it. I'm trying to stay healthy, I promise. This is your guys' 100th video watching me sick as hell. Might as hit the like and subscribe, because at this point, I think I'm gonna be sick forever. But as always, thank you guys for coming and watching. It's always appreciated. You guys have a beautiful day. Bye.